Every build starts with a vision, but it's the process that shapes the purpose. This wasn't just wood and tools, it was a calling, one piece at a time. Here's the final look, but it didn't start this way. I kicked things off by cutting my 2x2 boards to size for the main frame. Each section was measured and lined it up carefully to make sure the structure would be strong and square. Once everything was lined up, I used deck nails to lock in the pieces in place and make sure the frame stayed strong and secure. Then I squared up the opposite side to match, making sure the frame stayed balanced. With my side frames completed, I was ready to start building the structure. Getting this part right sets the tone for the rest of the project. Next, I nailed and glued in the side panels. This helped shape the bed and pull the frame together. I got into my DIY mode, sanding everything like I was filming a commercial. Real talk, I just wanted to stain over a pile of sawdust. I wanted it smooth, clean, and ready, because once the finished touch goes on, there's no going back. I started laying out the boards for the bottom of the bed, checking the spacing and making sure that they were lined up just how I wanted. Once everything felt right, I marked them up to prep for drainage holes. Now this part right here was tough. Drilling those drainage holes wasn't as simple as it looked, especially when I was dealing with already tennis elbow. But I took my time, adjusted my grip, and kept going. That's what building is about sometimes, pushing through the discomfort, staying focused, and finding my rhythm even when my body was not at 100. But I got it done. Next, I installed the center support. This part ties the whole frame together and helps everything stay leveled and solid. Now it was time to attach the 1x2s along the edge of the garden bed. This step gave everything a clean, finished look and helped hold the panels in place securely. It really brought the whole base together. Time to build the door frame. This was simple. All I did was lay out the boards, square them off, and drilled in the corners. Quick and easy build. Thank God it was ready to mix paint, but I had to remind myself, don't get too happy with this paintbrush. My tennis elbow don't play, and it will humble me quick. Wow, now look at God. Won't He do it? That fresh coat of paint brought it to life. It looks so clean, just as I had visioned. As I secured the mesh screen, it reminded me, even what we planted, nurtured, or cared for still needs protection. I didn't rush. I made sure it was sealed tight and strong, because what grows inside is valuable and is worth covering with intention. This is true in the garden and in life. I added more 1x2s over the mesh to lock it in tight. This step helped seal the screen and gave the frame a clean, finished look. Now I'm adding the mesh to the door frame. This part takes patience because it needs to be stretched just right and tight, but not tearing. I made sure the screen was lined up, then slowly stapled it around the frame. The key here is to stay steady and keep the tension even. Once it's all in place, I trimmed the edges and checked it twice. It's not just how it looks, it's about keeping everything inside protected. Securing these 1x2s over the mesh was the final layer of protection. I wasn't just out here slapping wood on a frame. I was making sure everything lined it up clean and held tight. Each piece added strength, and honestly, it made the door look more official. I took my time, I stapled with purpose, and made sure that the screen wasn't going anywhere. Because once it was done, I didn't want to come back fixing stuff. I wanted to enjoy what I built, solid, secure, and done right the first time. For the lantern stands, I kept it simple. I cut the wood to size, lined it up each piece, and used my nailer to put them together. I made sure everything was straight and even before moving on to the next one. These stands don't look like much, but they need to be solid. They're going to be holding up the lanterns on top of the build. Once both was assembled, I set them side by side to check that they match. Clean, sturdy, and ready to stain, just like I needed them to be. Now I'm staining the lantern stands. I used a brush to apply the stain to even strokes, making sure to follow the grain. The color brought out the texture in the wood and gave it a nice warm finish. Just one coat made a big difference. Now I'm attaching the solar light base to the lantern stand. I used wood glue for a strong hold and made sure to center each one on the top. I didn't need a lot, just a good amount around the base so it can stay in place and secure once it dries. After placing each one, I gave them a light press and checked to make sure that they were lined up right. This part is simple but important because once the solar light is in and it dries, you cannot remove it. I want it to be sturdy and stay in place. I attached the lantern stand right to the top of the garden bed, making sure it was leveled and secure. Once it was locked in, I placed the solar light right on top, and that moment brought everything together. It was simple, but it added a little glow and a whole lot of character. From the very beginning, this wasn't just building a garden enclosure. It was about creating something with my hands that reflect what was in my heart. Every board I measured, every screen I stretched, every piece I secured, it was more than work. It was worship. It was obedience. It was healing. There was moments I felt tired, time I questioned if I had the strength to finish, but I kept showing up one step at a time. Not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. This garden is just a place for plants. It's a space for growth, for stillness, for restoration. It's a reminder that what you nurture with intention will bloom in season. And just like this build, our lives are a process, piece by piece, layer by layer, covered by grace and guided by faith. I didn't do this alone. God was with me in every step, every detail, every decision. His hands steadied mine when they shook. His strength filled the gap when I was low. So now I stand back, not just proud, but graceful. Grateful for the vision, for the process, for the season in labor. Because this is what it looks like when purpose meets preparation. And I declare this garden covered, protected, and blessed. In every season it comes, may peace grow here, may joy live here, and may the works of my hands give glory to the one who gave me the gift.